Hello and welcome back to Formula 1 2021. I am back on the Breaking Point story mode. I know you guys have all seen it before because every other YouTuber's already done it, big and small, but I was sick. I've been sick for so long. I really just want to get back on with this story and live stream it. I've done a couple of races. I'm just going to really briefly try and catch you up on what's happening, so I've got some continuity there. So stick with it. I'm going to make this as brief as I can. Let's go. So we started off with a phone call from Mum, which obviously I declined because, you know, I've got better things to do, like check social media. Honestly, this is actually pretty cringy. Mum, seriously, I've got stuff on. Decline. Let's go to the racetrack. It's time for the Mexican Grand Prix, 7 laps, and somewhat conflicting messages here. My crew chief tells me not to worry about Casper, don't worry about chasing down your teammate, even though the actual objective for this race is literally catch up to your teammate, but nonetheless, we'll worry about that later. For now, we're going to get past Sir Lancelot. He takes the inside line. We are forced to go down the outside. I reckon I'll have him on brakes here. It's going to be too wide through a tight turn, but I will have the inside, and I am able to take that position. Now, I don't really know Mexico very well. It's been a long time since I've done any laps here whatsoever, and I just totally forgot to brake for that corner, if I'm being honest. I thought, hey, let's try a quick flick spin. That's kind of hard to say. And yeah, it didn't go well. So let's go back to the Mexican Grand Prix. 7 laps to go. Anyway, let's move on. You can see things are going a little bit better until just that moment. And yeah, got up on the curb. It's time for the Mexican Grand Prix. 7 laps to go. And in the complete... No, I wouldn't do that. But anyway, you can see we are chewing through now, going a little bit better up to 11th. Here is Valtteri. We just force him out of the way there, up the inside, although he does hold that outside line, so we're going to go too wide through here, just avoid a little bit of contact up on the outside, and it's time for Ricciardo's turn. You can see, obviously, I've just dispatched Bottas. Wasn't even worth showing you the end of that overtake. It's time for Ricciardo. Just straight under power. No dramas at all over the big Renault. Of course, it does start this story mode off in the 2020 season, not the 2021 season, which is why Ricciardo is in the Renault. And I finally catch the teammate. We've got ourselves a cutscene. Let's watch it.
From AlphaTauri and Aiden Jackson today.
No, you're not wrong there, and his performance has improved race by race throughout the season, and his driving today, impeccable. Here's a test room now, though, as they head down the main straight. There's a lot of friction between these two, and his teammates after him. Will he budge?
Pole position, Aiden.
Oh, I've never seen anything like this on a racetrack before. 2 teammates wheel to wheel.
Keep it clean.
Inches separating them and they crash. Oh, they've come together in spectacular style, and they're...
Yes, that's clearly not gone well, but it's time to go in and see the boss of the team. Let's find out what happens.
Close the door.
Oh, this isn't going to be good.
What the hell was going on out there? We've invested millions in you two. Millions. And look at you both. Acting like a couple of school kids. You've got a lot to prove this year, boy. And you're swanning around like butter wouldn't melt. And as for you, you should know better. I'm disgusted. You should both be ashamed.
Brian,
Not a word. Not a single word.
I'm going to be honest with you guys, I see what they're trying to do here. It's trying to be the Netflix Drive to Survive series, but, I mean, take the swearing out, take the bad, and I know you can't, this is a game for all ages, but, man, when you remove the swearing, it just doesn't have the same effect. Anyway, we are now back over with Ackerman, so our enemy so far in the game. We've switched over to him. The game's done the old switcherooning, and they're introducing his wife to us, and I suppose trying to put a bit more of a personal touch to try and help you to understand what it's like from the other person's perspective, just like Last of Us 2 did, although everyone hated that, so I better not mention that.
You've survived worse, you know?
Doesn't make it any easier.
Maybe not, but you're not hurt, and you have a family who love you. The rest are just details. I'll see you later.
And now we get to check out all of his emails, which honestly still kind of sucks. Again, I know what they're trying to do here, but it just, I don't know, it's not very immersive. Anyway, it's time to go to the next round. It is the Australian Grand Prix this time round. This time, though, we're going to join him with qualifying.
Teammate Casper Ackerman didn't make it through to Q3, narrowly missing out by just
13 milliseconds. You did all you could. If I went out second today, I would have those 13 milliseconds back, no problem. Why do they keep sending me out first?
11th isn't the end of the world, Casper. You'll make those places back.
Yeah, for sure. But I shouldn't have to.
Right, so I've cut a little bit out here, but essentially what's going on is that we jump on board with Ackerman during the Australian Grand Prix and he's actually lost 7th gear. So his gearbox has obviously got a fault of some sort, and I basically have to shift from 6th to 8th. So basically all I could think of really doing was revving the ring hole out of 6th, over-revving a little bit to try and shorten the gap between 6th and 8th. But honestly, we just kind of had to press on in 11th position at the moment. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to box on forward, and the reality is I still actually had quite a bit of pace. You know, I don't know if I'm sort of getting used to the game as we overtake Sir Lancelot. We often seem to start behind him, don't we? But I don't know if it's just that I'm getting used to the game and now the skill level's getting a bit easier. I think another thing is the racing line. So what I've actually just turned that racing line off now because I immediately started to do really well. And I guess the idea behind the racing plan is I make maybe a little bit of contact with Alonso anyway. Who's counting? Don't worry about that. Yeah, I turned the racing line on for the tracks I don't know very well because there's no practice here, there's no warm-up, there's no, you should go and do some laps of the Mexican track because you're about to do the Mexican Grand Prix. It's just bang, you're in the car and you're expected to know. That's a little bit difficult when I haven't played a Formula 1 game in like, what, 4 years or something like that. Anyway, over to another really cringy press conference.
Really angry. I was ready to push it today, to have all that preparation and focus wasted by a vehicle fault. I'm almost lost for words.
Well, despite...
Yeah, I think that's enough of that. Over to the Bahrain Grand Prix for Chapter 8. So we really are starting to plug through this now, aren't we? And, you know, back to another cutscene. So these cutscenes are actually okay, as cringy as the other stuff is. And this is alright, so let's jump on board and find out what's going on.
No, I need to come in now. It's quite bad.
We've got Aiden coming in now. Just hold out one more lap, please, Casper.
Isn't he a lap down?
Yes, he's on a different strategy though.
Haven't I got priority?
He's boxing now. Please hold off, Casper.
Fine. Nope. I'm all over the place here. I'm coming in now. Must have been pretty urgent for Aiden, huh?
Please be patient, Casper.
There goes another place. And another. Okay, let's go, let's go.
Now, fair credit to the writers here. I do actually believe this is somewhat topical. I believe that this is an issue that real-life teams have dealt with and will continue to deal with. I mean, even if you think back to the Vettel-Weber days, or, you know, there's a ton of examples, even Kimi Räikkönen now, you could probably look at. Ultimately, what you've got is an older, experienced driver who's probably thinking that they're the #1 driver within the team. Then some young, unheard of bloke turns up, and the team just seems to be giving them all the preferential treatment and throwing all their weight behind this driver as if he's the next coming of Jesus. And, you know, the older bloke's kind of going, well, what's the deal? I should have had, I'm ahead of him on the track. Didn't really make much sense. That's probably where the writing of this game did go a little bit awry. But nonetheless, it is somewhat relatable. I think this really is the kind of thing that does happen. So fair credit to them. I'm not going to slay them. I know there's some cringy dialogue here, but this isn't one of them. And despite the pit stop faux pas, I am starting to get a handle in this game. And I've pulled it home for a very strong 5th position, just in time for another cringy interview.
To all of us watching, it seemed as if there was some sort of clash in pitting strategy.
The team's strategy was wrong, so I called it. I had to. Sometimes when you're the one behind the wheel, you've got to call the shots. I felt the tires begin to go off and realized I needed to come in.
Now, look, obviously I recognise I'm kind of choosing douchebag type of dialogue responses here, but honestly, this section of the game really is dog shit, isn't it? Like, it's not good, and it is pretty hard to take, and it kind of, I don't know, it almost ruins the immersion. But anyway, the next section is something that I actually do think they kind of nailed this cutscene. It really does help give a personal spin, and I actually started to think a little bit more kindly of Ackerman after this.
This kid is the new #1 driver.
I don't believe that to be true.
But then why does he get paid more?
You're still upset about that.
No. Well, I don't know, maybe. I just wish I never found out.
It's not the money, though, is it?
I'm old.
You're not old.
Like this again. I am old. For a driver, I'm old.
Come on, this is your last season. You said you'd make it count.
I still need to tell them.
When will you?
Soon.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, forget about Jackson.
Okay.
And stop playing the victim. It doesn't suit you.
All right, okay.
It's Zandvoort next, remember? Everyone's gonna be rooting for you. Be the guy they love. And hey.
What?
Be the guy I love.
That's cute. Did you come up with that yourself?
I'm a natural-born charmer.
Hmm. Verstappen's got nothing on me.
You had to ruin it.
And they kind of did ruin it too, didn't they? I didn't think that joke landed at all. But anyway, look, I don't know if it's because, you know, personally, I'm in my mid-30s. I have a family. I've come to that realization that I'm too old to do a lot of things in motorsport anymore. I'm never really going to make much in that side of things. But yeah, I guess that one kind of got me a little bit. I guess that cutscene was more relatable to me. But anyway, that's the end of the video. This game dedicated an entire race to the Dutch Grand Prix. I'm going to do the same. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you're still here, I don't think many will watch this. Thank you for joining me, and we'll talk to you in the next